my name is Juli, notice lack of E, and today I clearly want to fight because we are going to be talking about the best and worst albums of 2019. So, apparently people really like when I do commentary videos because they get the most views. I don't know why people want to hear my opinions, but these are just my opinions, but I'm just gonna explain why they are my opinions, try to make it a little more objective. So I'm gonna be talking about pop albums, pop music, so sorry to the other genres. I feel like a lot of pop albums came out this year that were like good and had like some really good singles or some good like hidden songs, but like as whole albums maybe didn't knock my socks off. Then some came out that 100% did knock my socks off, and then some came out that 100% my socks back on because of how bad they were. That's to say that if I don't mention something, it's not because I thought it was bad, it's just because I thought it was good enough but not good enough to talk about. Yeah, let's start with the best. I'm an optimistic person. I thought that When We All Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go by Billie Eilish was the most sonically interesting album I have heard in 5 years. Talk about somebody who just wants to make what they want to make and just makes whatever they want. So seeing the Rolling Stones video of her and Phineas talking about making Bad Guy and how it wasn't this like contrived, oh, let's make something really dark and something that makes people like think I'm really cool and we can make a really cool music video. Like, they just seriously made it out of a place of enjoying making music. The way that Phineas and Billy just sit in their parents' house and genuinely just pour over the music they make in such an intimate and creative and excited way is so inspiring to me. I thought this album was so great because Billy said that someone literally told them there's no hits on this album. They didn't make this album to make a bunch of hit songs that were gonna have crazy radio play. They just made a bunch of like weird ass songs, like 8. Zanny. Can we talk about how When the Party's Over is like a 7-minute long a cappella song that is one of the #1 songs in the world. Billie Eilish is just continuing to challenge the structure of pop music and expand the collective imagination of pop music listeners. Maggie Rogers' Heard It in a Past Life is absolutely fantastic. I cannot stress this enough. It is heart-wrenchingly beautiful, extremely creative, extremely original, and is such a distinctive sound. Like sometimes people's first albums, they're just trying to figure out what they sound like, but Maggie Rogers has such a distinctive sound that I think is necessary in the world of pop music right now. And the lyricism of this album, Light On, makes me literally weep. Retrograde, Say It, AJR, Neo Theater. This is conceptually, lyrically, sonically, I know I'm using a lot of adverbs, such a fantastic album. I believe Neo Theater is just as good as The Click and does it one better in a lot of ways. I think the whole opening with a Disneyland 1960s choir and how there's Easter eggs of each song in each other song is so brilliant. And people don't make conceptual albums very much these days because of streaming and because of the way that music is. And I don't think that that's necessarily a bad thing. I know that a lot of people, okay boomers, will bitch about that a lot. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but I think that making cohesive and comprehensive albums is really cool and shows an effort and imagination and uniqueness to AJR that really sets them apart. There's just so much heart and creativity going into that album, and I think it was masterfully done. Okay, Thank You Next by Ariana Grande. I know that I made a video about how Sweetener should not have won a Grammy. I stick by that. I thought Sweetener was trash, quite frankly. But I also think that Sweetener made Thank You Next possible. Sweetener pushed Ariana's sound in a direction where Thank You Next could happen. I think almost every song on Thank You Next is straight up gold. I think it's fantastic. It's not just a vibe check album, which is how I feel like Sweetener was. There's genuine depth, creativity. The concepts of almost all of the songs are interesting concepts that are well played out in the songs themselves. And there's also a lot of different kinds of songs. Like there's the needy and the Ghostin', and then there's also like Bloodline and like Break Up With Your Girlfriend and Seven Rings. I think that NASA is absolutely a fantastic pop song. Thinking X really restored my faith in Ariana whenever I lost it. Lover by Taylor Swift. I made an entire video talking about Lover, but the more that I've thought about it, I've actually changed my opinions about a lot of the songs, and I used to not like the song Lover itself. I had like a whole realization where I did a deconstruction of the whole album with my friend, and we just went through every individual song and talked about the metaphors and like unpacked ideas in it. Lover is not her most iconic album in the sense of it doesn't have as many iconic cohesive songs as Red or 1989. But as I said in my actual Lover video, I think that Lover is really a return to Taylor's true lyrical craft and skill, done even better. Like all the times we've seen Taylor just write incredibly well told, well spun stories in her previous albums, she does that like 12 times in this album. I just love Taylor Swift. I just think she's a very brilliant, very talented writer, and is showing that more and more as she gets more mature. I'm just gonna mention two more that aren't like big ones for me, but they're like, I definitely should mention them. This just came out recently, but Fine Line by Harry Styles is like why I make music. Oh my word. Just the idea that someone like Harry Styles, instead of saying, I'm going to make a bunch of hit pop songs, Harry Styles could have easily been like the next hit maker, like done some like Camila Cabello shit, came out of a group and then did single after single after single after single that were just chart toppers. But instead he just made whatever he wanted to make. It's just really inspiring to me. You can really see him just playing with music and just having a great time with the people he's working with. Like to be so lonely with the I think it's a mandolin, the and Cherry always makes me cry so hard. Incredible. Also, if you guys haven't heard Phineas's EP Blood Harmony that has Partners in Crime and Claudia and I Don't Miss You at All on it, y'all need to freaking listen to it. It is incredible. Okay, now let's talk about the worst albums. So I could only think of 3 albums that stood out to me as being actually bad enough that I'm upset about it and want to talk about it. I'm sure that I missed some albums. I'm sure that I missed some big ones. So let's start with the obvious one. LP1. Liam Payne's album is very, very bad. I was talking to my friend about this album and we were trying to imagine the writer's room of creating these songs was the people who intentionally wanted to sabotage Liam Payne's career. This album is a perfect example of an artist and their team having no understanding of what musical style is best for them and suits their voice and vibe. So instead of figuring that out, they just kind of throw some magnetic pop poetry onto the fridge and get some big features, throw in a kick and a snap, get some Zen on there. It's like Liam Payne isn't the rap boy, isn't the dark boy, isn't the club boy. Like, I don't know what Liam Payne is actually. I don't know what his musical style should be, but this ain't his. Even though Zayn released a 27 song album that needed to only have 5 songs on it, Zayn has completely found his sound and has like some really solid songs and just understands the musical aesthetic that works for him. And so does Niall. And obviously Harry Styles is everything. But Liam, sis, I don't know what you're trying to do, but this is like some 2011 bad DJ shit. Very, very, very bad. My last 2 worst albums. I'm a very positive person, guys. I only have 3 worst albums and I have like 6 best ones. Kim Petras's Halloween album, maybe this is a me problem, but Turn Off the Light was like not good, sis. I just feel like there was a lot of meaningless shock factor songs that didn't really like have any purpose. Like Death by Sex, where she just says, yeah, sex, sex, sex. If you guys can find like some really interesting meaning in that album and re-explain it to me, I'm very happy to hear and like to re-listen to it and think about it differently. Okay, the last one I wanted to talk about is gonna be very, very controversial, and you guys might really hate me for it, but I really didn't like Ed Sheeran No. 6 collaborations projects. I'm sorry to all my Ed Sheeran fans. I have some really good friends that are huge Ed Sheeran fans and would stone me, but they also don't watch my videos because they're big fans. I just feel like the concept behind this album was really cool. Like Ed Sheeran wanting to collaborate people and loving like community and relationships in music, and that is so cool. That idea is amazing, but this whole album to me just kind of felt like a really bad cosplay. Like it felt like Ed Sheeran was like walking in wearing A$AP Rocky's clothes. You know that American Idol audition where it's the two guys and one of them is like, oh, whoa, whoa, and the other guy's like, yup, it's true. That's kind of how this album felt to me. I thought Beautiful People was a piece of shit. I'm sorry. Look, I think Ed Sheeran is a really good writer, but I think that sometimes he just does this thing where he's like, well, I'm Ed Sheeran, so it's fine, yeah, whatever. I feel like on this album there was like a really fine line between him actually genuinely wanting to collaborate with people and kind of like mix their musical styles to make something that was really interesting and different for both of them. There's a really fine line between that and him just kind of like being there while someone else sings a song, or kind of like singing their own song for them in a way that didn't really work for his style or his voice. Primarily, The Best Part of Me featuring Yebba makes me very angry because Yebba is absolutely a queen and so cool. Have you ever heard her song Evergreen? It's like one of the most interesting songs I've ever heard. It's incredible. And so to put Yebba on this album, he writes a song that maybe could have been good, like the verses are okay, but then the concept is the best part of me is you. This is a prime example of, well, I'm Ed Sheeran. This song does not sound good with Yebba's voice. It's not a good song in itself as just an Ed Sheeran song. Overall, just like a shitty collaboration that does nothing for either artist. I think Remember the Name is solid and good, I guess. I just feel like 70% of the songs on this album are B grade, B to C grade Ed Sheeran songs with a feature that either doesn't effectively show their style or should just have the song for themselves and Ed Sheeran shouldn't be on the song. I think that Below was a very interesting song because the way he combined Nashville rock with Chris Stapleton and then also put Bruna on it, I thought that that was like an example of his idea of collaborating with people in order to make things that are different than what you would make as individuals and have like a good time doing it. Like I think that that was a really good example of that. But I think a lot of the other songs are literally just like not good Ed Sheeran songs with someone else singing on them. Anyway, so tell me if you want to shoot me now. So that is my opinion. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Sorry that the frame kept being whack. I'm doing a series on Patreon right now where I'm making a song from scratch on Logic that I'm eventually gonna release. So you guys are gonna see every step along the way and learn how to use Logic while I use it functionally. So please become a patron. It's $5, which is less than a latte. And subscribe to this channel and tell me what you want to see from me. Check out my original music. It's everywhere. Follow me on Instagram and I hope y'all have a great day.